Okay, great. Thanks for confirming. So let us start the session for today. So if you guys remember, this is our session 2. Yesterday we have completed our first demo session. In that one, I have told you about what is data engineering, what is Google Cloud Platform. Let me gonna tell you guys one more time. So yesterday we have completed our first demo. Yesterday. So in that one, we have seen about what is data engineering. And after that, I have told you what is GCP. And we have also seen about the course curriculum, the detailed course curriculum I have shown you. And I've also told you about the course details. Okay, so for those people who have not attended the yesterday's session, I suggest you to connect with an admin and try to get the recording and watch these details. Okay, because we have seen about what is data engineering, the Google Cloud Platform overview, the course curriculum, as well as the course details. We have seen it. Okay, today is a demo 2. We're going to having the demo 2 today. In this one, what I'm going to talk about is that I'm going to start with an actual course curriculum from today. I would like to talk about why we need the cloud platform and what is the difference between traditional versus cloud platforms. So these are the two things and few more details about the Google Cloud Platform also we will see. Okay, so these are the two things that we are going to cover today, guys. That this is what is the agenda for today's session. Okay, so to start with that, hope you all can see my screen. Let me know if anyone facing any issues with my audio or the screen. Okay, so let us start. So we are going to start with our cloud basics. In the cloud basics, the very first topic is that the cloud overview. In that one, we are going to see about the why we need cloud platform and what is the difference between the traditional versus cloud platforms. And after that, we are going to see about the Google Cloud Platform, GCP interfaces, console walkthrough, GCP locations, GCP IAM and admin. All of these details, we are going to see it in the next sessions. So why we need the cloud platform? So to understand this one, let us take a simple example and let us try to tackle it. How people were working with the traditional methodologies. What are the challenges that they are facing whenever they are following the traditional working model? So let us try to do it. For example, let us consider there is an organization. That organization wanted to roll out a new application. Just understand that there is one organization. That organization wanted to roll out a new application for their end users. For their end users, they wanted to create a new application. So if an organization wanted to roll out a new application for their end users, what will happen from the end to end in a traditional working methodology? Let us try to see. So the very first thing is that the business will be there and business comes up with a requirement for the application. Business will come with a requirement for the application. What is the requirement for that application? And then the business analyst will gather the needs from the business and he converts that into a set of high level technical requirements and then he passes that information to the solution architect. So what the business analyst will do? Business analyst will gather all the needs from the business. He will gather all the needs from the business, and he converts that into a set of high level technical requirements, and then he passes that information to the solution architect. Now the solution architect is the one who designs the architecture to be followed for the deployment of the application. Solution architect, what he will do? He is the one designs the architecture to be followed for the deployment of the application. Now tell me a simple question I have. Sir, if I wanted to roll out an application, if one wanted to create an application, what are the things that are required? How many people we require? Can you guys tell me? What are the things that are required? Okay, storage. Any other details that we needed? Can I just mention infrastructure instead of storage, RAM, processing, machines, servers? Can I just mention infrastructure? Okay. If one wanted to create an application, they need the infrastructure. Do we need anything? Anyone? Developers, right? Otherwise, how do you develop it, right? So you need two things. The main things is that one is the infrastructure, one more is the developers. Developers are the human beings, they are going to develop the code. This code has to be deployed on top of this infrastructure so that the application will be readily available. So this is how the hierarchy you can think of. So if one wanted to create an application, we need the infrastructure, we need the developers. Developers will implement or develop the code, and they are going to deploy that code on top of the infrastructure. That's where the application is going to be available for the end users. Okay, so that is what in this scenario. Now what the solution architect will do is that he is going to be creating an architecture to be followed for the deployment of this application. Okay, so that means he will mention the entire infrastructure that is required, all the infrastructure details. When I say all the infrastructure details, such as storage, servers, number of servers, the front-end web server, back-end databases, load balancers, firewalls, whatever the thing that is required, all the things he is going to mentioning in a very detailed. All the infrastructure details such as the specification type, the count of servers, front-end web servers, back-end databases, load balancers, firewalls, all the things he is going to be mentioning. And he will also mention about what programming language the developers has to use, what frameworks they have to use, what libraries they have to use. All the things he is going to mention in an architecture diagram, and all the things that are required to be deploying a new application, such as the infrastructure details, such as the code development details also he will mention in a very detailed. Tell me, if we are following a traditional working model, this infrastructure should be available where? This infrastructure should be managed by whom? If we are following a traditional methodology, who have to take care of this infrastructure? Okay, who has to take care of the code development? Correct. Perfect. That's a very good answer. That means if your company wanted to follow a traditional working model, your company has to maintain the entire infrastructure for this new application. That means whenever you wanted to deploy a new application, your organization's on-premises environment, all the assets has to be available there only. So that is usually we call it as a data center. That is usually we call it as a data center. That means the entire infrastructure that is required for the application has to be available in the company's maintained data center. So that means the company, your organization is maintaining a uh, data center which requires 24 by 7 electricity, which requires 24 by 7 cooling supply, which requires 24 by 7 security personnel as well as maintenance, which is a lot of cost, but your company has to maintain this data center. Now tell me, whatever the infrastructure that is mentioned by the solution architect in the architecture diagram, if the entire infrastructure is not available in the data center, what we have to do? Because some amount of infrastructure will be available, but what if the additional hardware is needed? What we have to do again?
We need
So
to purchase.
correct. We need to purchase. That means now the solution architect, if see, most of the times, most of the infrastructure will be available in the data center. But at any situation, if the additional hardware is needed, it has to be ordered it via procurement team. Now the procurement team will put in a new request to the vendors team. Now the vendors team will take days or even weeks or even months for the hardware to be purchased and deliver it to the data center. Okay, it will take weeks, months also for the entire hardware to be purchased and deliver it to the data centers. So that is what happens. So when we are talking about the infrastructure end, whatever the infrastructure that is mentioned in the architecture diagram has to be available in the data center. If it is not, if the additional hardware is needed, it has to be ordered it via procurement team. The procurement team plus in a request to the vendors team. Now the vendors team will purchase the entire things and it is going to be delivering it to the data center. It's gonna take a days, weeks, and sometimes months also. Once if for example, if the entire infrastructure is already available at the data center or once it is received at the data center, that's where the field engineers comes into the picture. That's where the field engineers comes into the picture, and they are the in charge for the rack and stack equipment. Whatever the hardware that you have purchased, right, it has to be equipped like this. So whatever you see, this is called as a rack and stack. Whatever the hardware that you are purchasing and received at the data center has to be, you know, equipped or maintained like a rack and stack mechanism. So this will be done by the field engineers. That will be done by the field engineers. That means the field engineers will take care of the rack and stack equipment. And then the next system admins or network admins will come into the picture. They will do the initial configuration of the system, and network admins will assign the network to the system so that these all of these systems are available over the network. And then the storage admins will assign the storage to the systems, and then backup admins will configure the backups, right? So once everything is ready as per the standard that is mentioned in the solution architecture diagram, right? So once the entire infrastructure is ready as per the standard, it will be handed over to the application team. Two things, as we already know that in an architecture diagram, two things will be there. One is infra. Infra has to be prepared, or infra has to be available as per the standard that is required for the application. And the next, code. That's where for the code you will be having an application team. Application team meanwhile will be developing the code, doing the testing of the code. Once the entire infrastructure is available in the data center as per the standard, the application team will deploy the code on top of this infrastructure. That's where your application will be running in the data center. So this is how an end-to-end traditional working model looks like, right? So this many people working behind the scene to make your day infrastructure ready, right? See what, let us try to come up with a from the beginning again one more time. I'll like to tell you so that some people may not be able to get it. Let me gonna tell you. So whenever you wanted to create a new application, you will always be having a business team. That business team will come up with a requirement for the application. Now the business analyst will gather the needs from the business, and he analyzes that information, and he converts that information to the set of high level technical requirements, and then he passes that information to the solution architect. Now the solution architect is the soul, and he will be designing the architecture diagram to be followed for the deployment of the application. Okay, in that architecture diagram, he will be mentioning all the details about the infrastructure standards as well as the code standards. So if the entire infrastructure is already available at the data center, that is well and good. But if it is not there, if the additional hardware is required, they have to order it via procurement team. Now the team will connect with the vendors team. Now the vendors team will purchase it and deliver it to the data center. After that, the field engineers comes into the picture, system admins, network admins, storage admins, backup admins. So all of these people making sure that the infrastructure is as per the standards that is mentioned in the architecture diagram. Once this is as per the standard, the entire infrastructure will be handed over to the application team to deploy their code so that the application will be created and successfully running in the data center infrastructure. So this is what it is. So this is how, when you follow a traditional working model, so these many people working behind the scene to making sure that your entire application or whatever the thing that you are running in the project, right, to make sure that everything is running successfully, these many people is going to be working behind the scene. Now tell me, what are the challenges that you see here when you follow a traditional working model? I want you guys to tell me. What are the challenges that you guys see here? Anyone? Can you guess it? What are the challenges that you see here? What are the difficulty here? Anyone? At least a 1 point.
Increased dependency. Also,
Mhm. I see two answers. Both are correct. Okay, so let me gonna tell you guys. One of the first point, I would say it is a slow deployment model. Do you guys agree or not? I say it is a slow deployment, sir. That means the turnover time varies from weeks to months for everything to be ready for the application deployment. I would say that. Do you guys agree? Yes. But to No, comparatively we talk about. Comparatively. Tell me which one is slow or fast. We always talk about comparatively, right? So comparatively, which one is slow? Right. Yes, perfect. Correct. Right. So you have been seeing that if the hardware is not available in the data center, purchase first the procurement team, vendors team, this request itself it will be circling back in 1 or 2 weeks. And purchasing them, delivering it to the data center, even it takes months. But in the cloud, can you tell me how much time it will take for us to create the resources? Hardly 1 week. I don't say 1 week also, but let us say if you're following some kind of a CI/CD platforms or anything, it will hardly take 1 week. If we are not just following the CI/CD, I just wanted to create a one server, hardly takes 1 hour, right? So that is what I would say that the infrastructure readiness, which is taking a lot of time for the application deployment. So that's the reason I call it as a slow deployment model. The second thing I would say is that it is expensive. The overall cost to maintain and deploy this working model, I would say that it is generally high comparatively. Do you agree? Yes. The overall cost to deploy the model or maintain the working model is expensive. So that's the reason it is comparatively, I will call it as an expensive working model. A limited automation, I would say. Some aspects can be automated, but the activity that is done by the field engineers, system admins, storage admins, backup admins, procurement team, vendors team. Some aspects can be automated, but most of the aspects such as rack and stack cabling or maybe the procurement activities or vendor activities, these are not automated. So that is these procedures are manual. When we say it is manual, it is slow. And with so many teams working on so many different tasks, the chances of the human error is very high. You are seeing that many teams are working behind the scene. The chances of human error is high, with the results in inconsistency in the environment, which may result in the inconsistency in the environment. Another major disadvantage is that wasted resources. Underutilization of the compute resources is one of the biggest disadvantage in the traditional working model. Okay, so this is how when you are following a traditional working model, these are the challenges that the people are facing. That is, it is a slow deployment model, expensive, limited automation, human error, inconsistency in the environment, and wasted resources. Due to these many disadvantages over the decades, organizations were looking for an alternative solution. They were looking for an alternative solution. So that's where the cloud platforms came into the picture. What they say is that we provide you the resources as a services to you. So you don't need to worry about infrastructure maintenance. We provide the resources as a services to you and you pay for whatever the resources that you are using. That means you don't need to worry about maintaining the data center. See, one of the costliest activities is that maintaining your data center. You don't need to worry about maintaining your data center. You don't need to have a field engineers, system admins, storage admins, backup admins, procurement team, vendor stream. So When you are following a traditional methodology, you need all of these things. But when you follow a cloud computing model, cloud working culture, you don't need to maintain the data center. You don't need to maintain the field engineers. That team is not required for you. You don't need any of these teams. You need the application team for sure. And solution architect, and one more team that is called as a DevOps team or infra team, people usually calling it as nowadays infrastructure team or DevOps team. So DevOps team, as per the architecture, they create the CI/CD and deploy the code into the cloud so that the resources will be available in next few weeks. Hardly 1 week, guys. Hardly 1 week. Nowadays, I'm seeing only the access related things may be taking the time, but actual deployment creation should hardly take 1 week if you don't know the code. Okay, Terraform code, if you wanted to build it from the scratch, or any other infrastructure, if you wanted to build it from the scratch, it hardly takes 1 week. But if you already have the code, then it hardly takes 1 day. So from few months to we came to the infrastructure readiness like 1 day or hardly 1 week. So that's how the infrastructure team will develop the entire resources in the cloud, and the application will team will deploy the code. So this is how cloud platforms are benefiting for us. Now, comparatively, cloud platforms are faster in deployment. They are less expensive. You have a huge automation. Almost all the things can be automated in the cloud. It is because everything works via APIs, isn't it? In the cloud, everything works via API. So that's the reason automation can be achievable, almost everything. And you do not have this many teams, so that's the reason you do not have a human error. And whatever the resources that you want, you can create it. And there is an option called scalability, up and down according to your demand, that is possible in the cloud. And you can increase the resources whenever you need it. You can decrease the resources whenever you don't need it. So auto scaling systems are also available in the cloud. So the amount of resources that you are going to waste is comparatively less in the cloud. So this is how, when you are working in the cloud platform, you do not have a slower deployment model. It is faster, and it is less expensive, and it is we can able to achieve a good amount of automation. Human error will not be there, and you will be having a better compute utilization. So that's how the cloud platforms are benefiting us. So that's the reason most of the companies are nowadays moving towards the cloud. And if you can look at it, one of the leading cloud provider for the one of the leading cloud provider is Google Cloud Platform. So most of the companies started using the clouds. The major cloud is AWS, Azure, and leading cloud provider nowadays is also Google Cloud Platform is also there. So you have total 3 leading cloud providers are there: AWS, Azure, and GCP. AWS is having the higher market. It is around 35+% of the market is there, and Azure is around having 28%. Now the Google Cloud Platform is reaching more than 20% of the market. It is attaining. Okay, so that is how it is. So very soon it may be even more than the other two also, because that's how the Google Cloud Platform for data engineering, I'm mainly talking about data projects, mainly talk about the data projects, because the data projects Google Cloud Platform is very famous. For infra projects such as CI/CD platforms, Azure is very famous. For ML projects, AWS is very famous. So people who wanted to do the data engineering, data processing, data analysis, such kind of projects, Google Cloud Platform is very famous. That's what the community says, right? So if you go for the Azure, CI/CD things are very easy to do it, and it is giving you the cost effectiveness. AWS machine learning activities can be done easily, but nowadays this machine learning can also be done feasibly in the Google Cloud Platform with Vertex AI and many other things, Auto ML and Vertex AI. So that's how the Google Cloud platform is taking over the most of the market, and it is getting leading and day by day. So most of the companies started using the GCP. Right now, in a simple words, let me gonna talk about what is this difference between the traditional versus cloud. Okay, so when you're following a traditional working model, an organization has to maintain their own infrastructure to run their code or an application. In a simple words, if I have to talk about, if an organization is there and if the organization is managing their own infrastructure to deploy the code or maintain the code, then that is called as a traditional working model or an on-premises working model. Sir, every time you are saying infrastructure, what is that one, sir? Infrastructure could be a server or a hardware or a software or a networking or a storage, anything, or many more, CPU, RAM, anything. Okay, so infrastructure, if the company is managing for running their applications, that's what I call it as a traditional working model. But if this infrastructure is maintained by some other cloud provider, that company is following a cloud computing model. That's what we say. If that infrastructure is managed by the some other cloud provider, then that is what we call it as a cloud computing model. So that is the difference between the traditional as well as cloud. So simple example, if you wanted to see, cooking a food at home. So if you are cooking your own food at home, that is what I call it as a traditional method. If you are having a food at restaurant or ordering a food at from the restaurant, that is what I call it as a cloud. So that is a simple difference if you wanted to understand. So this is how you have a traditional versus cloud, guys. Tell me if anyone have any questions, please raise your hand. If anyone have any questions, please raise your hand, everyone. Perfect. So this is how now you got some idea about what is traditional methodology, how people were working, how many teams are involved, what are the challenges that they were facing, and how the cloud looks like, and what are the benefits that when you follow the cloud computing model. Now it makes sense that most of the companies are following the cloud. It's because of these many problems that they were facing earlier, right? It should make sense now. Now, I would like to talk about, yes, please. Means, meaning, correct. CI/CD is nothing but a continuous integration, continuous deployment. It is something like this that uh, manually deploying it, manually building your code, manually testing your code takes a lot of time, right? So what the infrastructure team or a DevOps team come up with a one more technique that is called as a CI/CD. So what they will do is that they will use some of the tools to automate this entire manual process of deploying the code. Okay, so that is what we usually call it as the CI/CD. So continuously it is going to be integrating the code, building the code, testing the code, and deploying the code. So these all the activities are happening automatically with the help of the pipelines. So that is what we call it as a CI/CD pipelines. Okay, to automate the entire activity of the infra team, because we can't afford to have the manual methods because it takes time. So that's the reason, because when you are going with a with the manual method, right, the life cycle is more. But when you are having the CI/CD, you will be having a shorter life cycle to create the resources. That is what the companies are looking for. So that's the reason you will be having a CI/CD, and which is very important. With a shorter life cycle, it increases the delivery time, deliveries faster, faster deliveries. Okay. Yeah. In, I, I told you, right? It's a DevOps team. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let us just again go into the GCP and see what is GCP again one more time. If you guys wanted to understand, I might have told you yesterday. I just want you guys to understand one more time. Google Cloud Platform is one of the leading cloud provider which provides you the cloud computing services. These services are very useful for the organizations to deploy the application, build the application, scale the applications and services in the cloud. Or in a simple words, whatever the project it is, if you wanted to fulfill your project requirement, there is always a few services available in the cloud. Okay, Google Cloud Platform is providing you the cloud computing services. These services are many. These are many services they are going to provide you. And if one wanted to make utilize these services for project requirement fulfilling purpose, they can do that. So this is one of the GCP suite of services it is providing, and it's providing you the compute services, IAM services, management services, networking services, big data services, storage and database services, and machine learning services. Okay, plenty of the services are there. If you guys wanted to see it, you can always visit Google Cloud Platform. 1 minute. So we can always visit Google Cloud Platform to understand whatever the resources that it is. So you can go to the cloud and you can able to click on the solutions, all products. Don't worry. In the next few sessions, I am going to tell you maybe the day of maybe on Monday onwards, I guess. On Monday onwards, I am going to tell you how do you create a free tier account. Okay. So today yesterday, today, and tomorrow is the demo sessions. After the demo sessions are completed, I'm going to tell you how to create a free tier account. From there, actual topics are starts. So these are all demo sessions only. Now you can able to see all the products here. Total more than 4,500 products are there in the marketplace. You can see the management categories. These are the categories. You can see the services here. So these are all the services. Compute services, storage services, analytics services. So plenty of these services are available. You have a category and their respective services are available in the Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so that is how. Plenty of the services that the GCP is providing so that the company can make use of these services to you and to complete their projects. Okay, so that is what is the main agenda. And while we are working on this thing, we may wanted to interact with the Google Cloud Platform services, isn't it? While we wanted to work on, for example, tell me guys, as a data engineer, what we wanted to do. As a data engineer, what we wanted to do. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? As a data engineer, what is our agenda? Correct. Correct, right? So data ingestion, storage, correct. Process, correct. Analyze, correct. And visualize and monitoring, logging, governance, governance, any other things that we miss? Or many other, few more things will also be there. Okay. So these are all the activities that we wanted to do it. Right. Sir, as a data engineer in my project, we are going to do all of these things, sir. We are going to do all of these things. As you told, sir, so Google Cloud Platform is providing you the plenty of the services. Google Cloud Platform is providing you the plenty of the services to fulfill all of my requirements. Sir, that means Google Cloud Platform has a plenty of the services. So some of the services I'm going to mention it here. You have a GCS, BigQuery, Dataproc, data flow. Don't worry about these services. We are going to cover later. Cloud SQL, PubSub. You can also see that this is our course curriculum. Airflow and data fusion, cloud functions, GCS BigQuery, GCS Cloud SQL BigQuery, Dataproc, Dataflow, Airflow, PubSub, Data Fusion, Cloud Functions, Databricks. So, sir, Google Cloud Platform is providing you plenty of these resources, right? Plenty of the services. And these services are very useful for us to fulfill our project requirements. Sir, I have my project requirement here. That is, I need to ingest the data. I wanted to store the data. I wanted to process the data, or analyze the data, visualize the data, monitor the data, log the data, take care of the data governance also, quality, right? To do all of these things. So we need to interact with these services. Sir, can you tell me how many methods are there to interact with these services? Sir, how many methods are there to interact with these services? So the important thing is that we need to interact with these services, then only I can able to store it. I can able to process it or analyze it. So how do we interact with these services, sir? These are GCP services. How do we interact with these services? If you ask me, there are total 3 methods are there. Can anyone tell me what are those methods? If you know, console, cloud shell, cloud SDK. So total there are 3 methods are there to interact with the GCP services. One is console. The second one is cloud shell. The third one is cloud SDK. So total 3 services are there. 3 interacting methods are there. 3 interface methods are there to interact with the GCP services. One is console, the cloud shell, cloud SDK. Okay, so that one can able to interact with these services to fulfill their project requirement or interact with these services for storing the data, processing the data, or analyzing the data, anything. So this is what is the interface methods. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to tell you how you can, what is console and how you can able to work with console. I'm going to tell you tomorrow, guys. So that we are going to see it tomorrow. Any questions, anyone on this one? So total we have 3 interface methods are there. One is console, cloud shell, cloud SDK. Here we are going. There are other methods also. Some people do it via API. Some people use it via client libraries such as languages, programming languages, client connections. So that is also there, but that is not all the time we use. Rarely we are going to use it. Okay, so this is some third-party tools also some people use, but that is on a demand. It's not on a daily basis we are going to use it. Okay, so these are the 3 interface methods that you have it. One is console, the second one is cloud shell, the third one is cloud SDK to interact with the GCP services. Okay, so what are the GCP services? We have plenty of these GCP services are there. That is BigQuery, Dataproc, Dataflow. So if I wanted to store the data, I can use GCS, analyze the data, BigQuery, process the data, Dataproc, stream pipelines, I can go for the Dataflow. So plenty of these things are there. Okay, so we are going to see it from tomorrow onwards. And tell me if anyone have any questions now. So I just wanted to stop it here. I don't wanted to give you a lot of information today itself. Tomorrow onward, tomorrow, this is what we are going to see. What is console? What is cloud shell? How do we work with cloud shell? What is cloud SDK? How do we install the cloud SDK? How do we interact with the cloud SDK? And what are the methods and how the commands are going to help us, and how do we learn the commands also? All the things one by one we are going to see. Yes, we can use a PowerShell to interact with the GCP. Yes, we can do that actually. That is nothing but SDK. First, you have to install the SDK. Then once the SDK is installed, see for example, I have it here. PowerShell, or people do it from the Visual Studio Code. Anything is fine. See, I can able to log into the Google Cloud Platform from here. See, it is asking for me to log in. Actually, I should have. I'll copy this one. I'm copying. So this is my PowerShell. So what I'll do, I'll just go here and paste that link here so that it will ask me to allow the login. So this is my account. Click on continue and click on allow so that I am allowing that particular user. See, you are logged in now this one. So you can able to interact with the GCP. For example, I wanted to list out all the buckets, GSUTLS. Google Cloud Storage I'm interacting with now. See, I'm listing out all the buckets. Perfect, right? So that's how PowerShell is possible. Visual Studio Code is possible. Terminal is possible. Anything is possible. Any other questions? It depends. It depends on the requirement. So if I say BigQuery, console is the best method. Okay. So if you wanted to move a data to the GCS from some server, SDK is the best method. Okay. It depends on the requirement. Okay. So I'm going to tell you all the methods so that any requirement comes in, you should be able to work on it. My main motto is that I wanted to tell you all the methods so that if any of the requirement comes to you, so that if one wanted to do this activity, that is covered, that activity that is also covered. Okay, but I'll tell you, when I'm going to talk about the BigQuery, I'll be mainly using the console it because that's the best method. I'll also tell you how do we move the data from the other servers to the BigQuery also via BQ load commands. I'll also tell you about that, but that's not a common method. That's very rarely used. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, great. That's a good question. I think I forgot to tell you guys. So once you complete the course, okay. So this is how I'm gonna divide this into the multiple. Okay. So you have 2 years of experience. You have commonly people will be having 3+ years of experience, 5+ years of experience, 7 to 8 years of experience, 9+ years of experience, 12+ years of experience. Okay, so if you are having a 2 years of experience, sorry, what I would say. So you try to attend my course and you tell them and you prepare your resume in such a way that your resume should look like last 2 years on GCP only. Okay, worked on GCP projects. Your resume look like? So if you are having a 2 years of experience, the entire resume, for example, you wanted to create it in that resume, you provide all 2 years I worked on the GCP projects only. Whether you are mechanical engineer or a production engineer or a pharmacy guy, whatever you are, if you have a 2 years, 2.5, 2.3, 2.7, whatever it is, just mention everything that experience as a GCP projects, and this course is for you. And the next thing, and the next person, that is 3 years of experience guy. Sir, I have a 3 years of experience, guys. The same thing. Last 2 years I worked on the GCP. Okay, last 2 years I worked on the GCP. You can able to say the same thing. And 1 year, what I have to do, sir? Some people will ask me, sir, what I have to do for 1 year? Whatever you are doing current 1 year, that you mention it. Okay, maybe you mention SQL developer I worked, or some visualization team I helped. I was working as a SQL support engineer, whatever it is, something related to the data. Okay, some support engineer or something, you mention it. And last 2 years, you prepare your resume as a GCP only and mention the projects also, which we are going to cover. Okay, and 5 years. Sir, I have 5 years of experience. Last 2.5 years of experience, you should be putting as a GCP. Your resume has to be prepared in such a way that last 2.5 years I worked on the GCP. Rest of the 2.5 years, you should be able to manage anything that you are currently doing, right? So you may be working some other work related to the testing background or mainframes background or maybe some other mechanical background. You put the same experience, not a problem. I got a chance to work on the GCP. I learned the GCP. I got a chance to from the last 2.5 years. I'm working on the GCP projects only. You can manage it. That's not a problem at all. Okay, so that is for the 5 place. 7 plus also I suggested to mention 3 years. Last 3 years I worked on the GCP projects. Last 3 years. Here the same thing. Other 4 years you have to mention whatever the current experience that you have. And here 3.5. Maximum you go for 3.5, guys. I wouldn't suggest you mention 3 plus. Okay, you mention 3 plus. Here also you mention 3 plus. That's it. I suggest you, even though you are having 15 years of experience also, I suggest you to go with the 3 plus. Even though you have 1 year of experience also, I suggest you go with the last 1 year on the GCP. So this is how you have to prepare your resume. Any questions on this thing? Anyone?
Sir, you
I
were telling
maybe,
about the
yeah,
GCP
yes,
projects, no? That
yes.
project actually, how we can get it? How do we mention about this project only? I worked like that. Will you be guiding
We
for
are
us? Or?
covering. We are covering. See, so when I say a project, an end-to-end pipeline as a data engineer, you are creating, right? So you're working in a data project where my work is to create an end-to-end pipeline, right? So you're creating a batch pipelines, you're creating the streaming pipelines. We have a use cases, assignments, everything. For example, you wanted to go for, assume that you wanted to put I worked on the healthcare. So you have a healthcare end-to-end pipeline. So one of the use case, one of the client requirement was there was a healthcare requirement is there that we had to create an end-to-end pipeline for them. So this is what you can explain. And no, sir, I wanted to talk about this one maybe. For example, there was one of the company whose travel records are maintained. This, look at this one and try to tell me if this is a project that you can able to explain in the interview or not. See, this is how. So I am working on a project where employee travel records are maintained in the CSV files in their server. In the current scenario, the visualization team is directly using these CSV files. The data cleaning and processing is getting compromised. Now the client asks us to properly clean and transform this data and load this data to the BigQuery so that the visualization team will take from the BigQuery. And this is a requirement and all the transformations that you should work. We are going to cover everything here. And you have a batch pipeline, how it looks like. This is for the machine learning team. Downstream, how do we work for? And a case study for an healthcare project. So these are all end-to-end pipelines that you are going to work. And in BigQuery, you are going to work on analysis, BigQuery analysis, BQ analytics, because BigQuery is nothing but an analytics platform. 60 to 70% of your work will be on the BigQuery. So all of these things, don't worry. By the end of this course, what projects you have to put in your resume will be covered, and you will be able to aram se put in your resume, aram se explain in the interview also. Okay.
Okay, sir. But what about this project? I actually did for some client. I heard to mention, right?
No, client and all, whatever the client name you mentioned, no one will ask you, right? So you worked for this client only. Tell me about their contact details. Tell me about their names. No one will ask you. Okay. The only thing is that, so I'm going to tell you guys the company trend. If you have worked on one company, for example, say Accenture, like 2 years, like 2 years, worked on a support engineer, for example. Okay. And you are preparing your resume for the GCP and you are going for the interview. Okay, and you got the job and working in the company for some other Infosys. Okay, so Infosys doing the background check whether this guy is worked in the Accenture or not. This guy is really worked in the Accenture, yes. Does the Infosys ask the Accenture that what was his role, what are the tools he worked? It never asks. No company is ready to tell their information about the projects. No company will reveal what tools they are using for that particular project. No company, because that is a company's policy. The only thing that Infosys will expect from the Accenture is that guy really worked in the company or not, from when to when. That's it, not more than that. It doesn't get more than that information, because not even a startup company or a big MNC company, no one will tell to any other company saying that this guy worked on this particular tool, on this particular project, on this with this particular client. No. Okay. So whatever the details that you mention in your project, those are the final project. You have to justify. Whatever the client name that you are mentioning, those are the final. Okay, so that will be Infosys is going to trusting on. But other things such as really this guy worked on the company from when to when, that is relying on the your previous company. So this is what we call as a background check. A background check is nothing but not that they are going to ask your tools, ask your projects. No, the background check is nothing but, did the guy really worked in the company, what is the tenure, did the guy has a you know income tax. So those, so what we call it as a I, what is that, sir? I forgot that. ITR reports, as well as one more thing is pay slips. One more thing is this passbook. What is that passbook? I forgot that. Um, I don't remember it, guys. Employee EPF, right? I think employee EPF portal, some portal is there, right, for the government, from the government. So those are the only thing that the company will rely on to make sure that this guy is really worked in the company. He has generated a lot of documents, and those documents are trustworthy or not. That's it. Other than that, not even a single company will provide the details. No company will ask the details about the projects and their tools and everything, the technologies, nothing. No one will reveal, no company will reveal those details. Okay, so you are in safe
Okay,
hands.
sir.
So whatever the
For
things that you are going to put it in the projects, that is final. Okay.
for career gap people and for freshers, what's your advice, sir?
So for the career gap, so what you have to do, and by the question that you are asking, you might have known the answer also, that you have to fill the gap. How do you fill the gap? Make a trusted person, try to get proper document and fill it. That's what happens in the IT. But you need to be making sure that those documents are proper. Okay, so that is what you have to ensure. Other than that, the course is mainly focusing on, if you have the documents ready, if you have everything ready, the course is helping you to land on a dream job. That's what we are aiming for. But if you are having the gaps, or if you are freshers, you can able to get the job with this course. The freshers, I don't have any problem, because freshers has to be little bit patient while they are getting the job. But if you have any other problems related to the the documents, everything, you have to connect with the team itself. I mean, you have to connect with the different people, so that you can able to get the proper documents and all. Okay, yeah. Any other questions, anyone, guys?
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, Yogesh.
Do you have any banking domain project that GCP covered in that course? Currently, I am working in the banking domain project, so that's why I'm
So
asking.
no, actually, no, so far. But the thing is that domain is not a problem. Everyone, guys, you have to understand, domain is nothing but a terminology. Okay, but other than that, whatever the data engineering activity is same for all the projects, whether it is a uh, mechanical domain, or a healthcare domain, or it is a banking domain, it doesn't bother, because as long as you are at whatever the services that you are learning, if you are at it, because the terminology will, once you join the company, within 2 to 3 days, you will be able to get the terminology. Okay, so we do not have it, but I will think about it, because as now I have the thing, so I can able to just create one more pipeline for the banking domain also. I can make sure that, yeah.
Okay, sir. Otherwise, you will suggest me to how to current my project, how to I can convert to in GCP projects. If you guide me after
That's
completing
possible.
this
Yes,
course,
yes, you are audible.
when a
Yes,
project will start, na, that time we will discuss.
correct.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, our course is yes 2.5 months. Yes, some people are saying that, sir, it is too much time, and some people are saying, is it enough? Okay, I am telling you that, so 2.5 months is a good amount of time to complete whatever I am promising today. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, I
Yes,
have
Rohit.
experience as a DevOps engineer.
Okay.
So, what prerequisites for this course? Because I don't have experience on any data related things.
So you don't need it. SQL is the prerequisite for the course. If you know the SQL, that is more than enough. Everything is covered in the course. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
SQL.
will be
Yes. Basic knowledge on the SQL. If you have it, guys, you are ready for the course. Yes, Ishwar.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Do I
Hi.
need to learn all these services, 10 services mentioned by you, or any two, three services? Let's do they will sell ADF and they tell that they learn ADF and ADB. They put in this.
Correct. See, as a course, we learn everything. Okay. I want everyone should be able to comfortably work in the company. It's tomorrow you are only learning two or three services. Day after tomorrow, the company will come and they ask you to work on some other service. I don't want it to have such kind of a problem. That's the reason I put everything. But majorly GCS, BigQuery, Dataproc, Airflow. If you are learning these four, to get the job more than enough. Okay. Most of the companies, 70 to 80% of the projects are revolves around here only. Okay. Okay, some rare companies are there will ask you data flow, PubSub, data fusion, cloud functions, and some of the companies nowadays most interested towards the Databricks also. So you will be seeing the calls on the Databricks also. That's the reason from last 2 to 3 batches we have been starting the Databricks as well. And you already know, I think maybe you guys not knowing it, that I am a consultant at Databricks as well. So we will be providing for multi-cloud services for the Databricks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to learn Cloud Run also?
Not required. That's DevOps topic. Cloud Run is not required. That's a containerized application. You don't need that.
Okay.
Yes. During our sessions, how do you have to answer the questions in the interviews? How do you prepare your resume? And how smartly you have to answer if you don't know the answer to the question? All of those things we are going to cover in the sessions, guys. So every session is going to be the new learning thing to you, and it is going to be interacting only. So 1 hour session is more of a content that I'm going to cover with a new topic I'm going to come up with every time. And whenever you have any question, once the 1 hour is completed, we will be spending here like 5 to 10 minutes, so you will be able to have your doubts cleared. Okay, so we will be having a doubt session also after the 1 hour. Okay, so that's how the sessions are going to be coming. Yes.
Sir, session is on daily basis, Monday to
Yes,
Sunday or Monday to Friday
Monday
only.
to Friday. Okay, let me gonna just tell you guys this one finally. So our sessions are the timings I would like to talk about. So timings 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. every day IST, and Monday to Friday. Okay, Monday to Friday. Duration 2.5 months. Okay, 2.5 months. All our live sessions only. We have live sessions, and these are English, and recordings are provided on the daily basis. Okay, maybe at demo sessions you may not be provided to you to our your mail IDs. You are not getting it. It's because the demo sessions are, once you are enrolled for the course, every day you are going to get a recording in that particular day itself. Okay, on a daily basis you are going to get the recording to your mail ID itself. Okay, you will be added to the one of the platform. You are going to get the recordings on daily basis. And whatever the material that I have shown, it is a comprehensive material, will be provided to you, and you will be having an access to it, guys. So this notes is everything, I would say. This notes is everything. And most of the people, whenever they go for the interview, just come to my notes and just recap everything, and they go for the interview. I suggest you to do the same thing, please. Okay, and any other things I missed here? Timings, 2.5 minutes, recordings, material, anything?
Sir, what are
Nothing.
the certifications can we do in this? And after this course, can we able to do the
Correct.
certification?
Yes, after this course, you can able to aram say do PDE or some amount of, when you wanted to complete the AS, some amount of basic knowledge on the compute also you need to have it to complete the AS. Basic knowledge on the compute. So these certifications you can able to go for. Plenty of the people have completed PDE from the course. Yeah. Professional data engineer and associate cloud engineer. I am certified professional data engineer 2 times because PDE certification is valid only 2 years. So I had done it like 3 years back. Maybe last 6 months I have completed one more time. So 2 times I'm PDE certified and A certified also. Yeah. So this is one. The fee structure for the fee, guys, connect with an admin. Okay, please connect with an admin. Admin will help you on this one. Okay, don't worry about it. I hope when you are joining these Zoom links, you are entering your details properly. So if you enter your details properly, they will be connecting with you personally. Okay, yeah. Okay, any other questions?
So from coming Monday onwards, we have the regular classes, sir.
Actually, this is a continuous in topic only. There isn't anything like regular. Whatever we are covering, it's a continuous. Okay, from today onwards. Okay, that's a top topics that you see, right? So the same content. Yes, please.
So
Yes.
this document will
Two
be
things.
shared, no, after.
Correct. Two things, one at a time, please. So one was asking about the admin details, right? Who was that question? Can you guys tell me who asked for an admin details? Najir, right? So Najir, I think 1 minute, 1 minute, please. Yeah. Okay. So here in the chat box, you have the details. Okay. Okay, in the chat box, guys, your representative admin details are already there. You can call them and you can also ask them for the details. Okay, that's one thing. And one more question I was seeing is that what was the question? I forgot. Hema Lata something. Someone was asked some question. Hema, can you tell me what was the question you are asking? Okay. Okay, so some other guy was also asking some question. Really? Yes. Yes, Richard. Yes, SQL basics. Yes. No. Correct. So SQL basics, don't worry. So we are not covering the SQL basics, but what topics as a basic that you need to have it, I'll tell you. And for those people, once a session, because the our cloud, so you can able to plan it properly, guys. Okay, because our cloud basics will actually take almost more than a week. Okay, including Saturday, Sunday, I would say it is almost 8 days it will take. During this 8 days, if you plan it properly, those who don't know the SQL also they can able to learn the basics. How do you have to learn it? Where do you have to learn it? I will tell you. Okay, I will tell you what topics you have to learn it on the basics front, and where you have to learn it also. I will try to tell you. Okay, yeah, okay. And yes, any other question?
Yeah, the demo sessions, will it be shared later on or how it is, sir?
It
That's
will
what.
be. All the demo sessions will also be shared with you guys. These are all recordings only. So once you are enrolled for the course, from the day 1 to the end of the day, you will be having the recordings with you. Okay. Yeah. Yes, one of the guy was asking. Yes, Nate. Yes, please. I suggest you. Okay, okay, that's a very good question. I suggest if you wanted to get the 100% fruitfulness or the best benefit out of the course, if you wanted to get, is that, sir, my working model or my way of teaching model, I would say, is that my teaching model is more of a 80-20. I usually call it as. So that means 80% is practical, 20% is theoretical. 80% practical means 80% of the times we will be focusing on the labs, and 20% is we are going to focusing on the theory. So whenever I am covering any labs, I suggest you to, whoever is attending the session, 1 hour session for the live, they should, for this lab, they should spend at least 15 to 20 minutes. I suggest you 20 minutes. 20 minutes for the practice every day. So if you are doing the practice every day for the same lab sessions, 80% of the time we will be having the labs only. So if you are spending additionally 20 to 30 minutes, you should be able to get a good benefit of the course. Otherwise, if you don't practice it, what will happen is that whenever I am teaching, it makes sense to you. Whenever I am telling you some topic, it makes a lot of sense to you. But after the once that topic is completed, whenever I go to the next topic, you may be forgetting it. So the only thing I expect you is that practice is the key to the success. Okay, practice. You keep practicing it. While you are practicing it, the answers, there are some people in the interview, they ask the questions like, what are the challenges that you faced? While you are practicing, you face a plenty of the challenges. You answer them in the interview. So this was a problem that I faced, memory issue. This was one of the key error issue. This is one of the data type issue. This is how we have problem, and this is how I have solved it. All of those things. So if you wanted to answer it, you practice it. Whatever I'm pipeline, if I'm creating, you have to create it. And one more thing, to make you even more engaged, every time I'll be having assignments, every topic. Assignment 1, assignment 2. Here also assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3. To make you engaged all the time during the course, during the Saturdays and the Sundays, I'll be having assignments. Those who are putting effort and learning this, completing these assignments, right? So it's very easy for them to tackle the real world problems also. Okay. Yeah. I hope it is answered, Nate. Yeah. Great, guys. Any other questions? Anyone, please? I hope my voice is clear. I'm having actually the cold. It may be not so clear, but during maybe from after 2 or 3 days, it will go away, so that it will be even more clear. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, can we have any migration project?
It's already there.
Okay.
Database migration project is already there. Yes. Yes. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. So we have our third demo today, which we are going to discuss about this topic, guys. That is, how do we interact with the multiple services in the GCP? So we have plenty of the services that we know. Sir, I wanted to work with GCP. So what is console? What is Cloud Shell? What is Cloud SDK? What is third-party tools? The demo session topics will not be covered later, guys. So you have to attend the demo sessions also. These are continuous sessions only. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you all. I hope you guys have learned something today, and we will meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Nagaraju, we have the certification dumps also. We have the